It's a Sunday morning in Melbourne, and that particular song was chosen by our guest, well, sort of half chosen by me, because you'd be a fool not to play it. That was the brand new single, which has been released ahead of a new album, which will be released in August, a bit later on, by our guest this morning, who has had an extraordinary career, both on film and television and, dancing currently. Her name is Samantha Jade, and I've been dying to meet you, Samantha, and good morning and welcome to a Sunday morning in Melbourne.
Oh, thank you. Good morning.
It's a fantastic new single. Tell us about, because you've written it yourself, you've recorded it yourself. How did it all evolve?
You know what, with this one, I kind of went into the studio with my longtime collaborators, like very good friends of mine, and we kind of went in and I really wanted to write something fun and pop and feel good, and it just depends on the day when you go in. Sometimes you want to write a ballad, sometimes you want to write about a very particular thing, and this day I was like, I just want to write something fun and pop and nostalgic feeling, and that's exactly what we kind of came up with in Peachy.
I love it, and it's going well since its release.
Yeah, I've had so many beautiful messages and seen so many great comments, and it's always nice because, obviously we have these songs that we write and we love and we keep them very close to our hearts, and we always hope that people, like what we do. And so it's been really nice to kind of read all of the messages of encouragement.
Fantastic. A bit about Peachy a bit later on, but Samantha, you grew up in a wonderful part of the country of ours, one of the most isolated places on earth insofar as cities are concerned. You're a Perth girl, aren't you?
I'm a proud WA girl. Yeah, grew up in Perth, and I know it was so far from everything. And I know this because every time someone came to town in a concert or some kind of tour, we literally were always left off the list. I would always be like, "Oh, Perth."
That's right, and you started modelling at an extremely young age, and then you must have just loved music. You weren't pushed into it because from what I can gather, you were self-taught to sing, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I always loved singing. Like, it was what I used to do to, when I was happy, I would sing. When I was sad, I would sing. It was just like my form of release. And I remember my mum saying, like, I can always tell if something's off because Sammy's not singing. Like, it's just, the art form that I chose to express myself through.
And how did that affect Alex and Thomas, your two younger brothers growing up? Did they get used to their sister Samantha, well, in the nicest possible way, not shutting up?
I mean, yeah, they had no choice, really. They had to. But I will say now when I'm, like, trying to play them my songs, like, they're very supportive and very kind and very sweet. And then it gets to the point they're like, okay, we've heard it. We've heard this for years.
That's it. And the other thing that I found out about you, I thought, you've come over from Perth at a young age and you've gone to Hampton High, but there's a Hampton High in Perth, isn't there?
Oh, yes. Wow, yes, that's right. Is there one in Melbourne too?
Well, there's a suburb called Hampton. So I thought I put two and two together and I thought, Samantha must have gone to Hampton High in Hampton. But no, it's the one in Perth.
That was the one in Perth, yes, that you'd be correct.
And was that good? How long were you there for? The whole up to year 12?
No, I actually left in year 10 because I moved to LA because I got signed to a label over there. So my life was a bit crazy. But it was kind of a performing arts school. So that was really nice. We got a lot of great lessons in music and in dancing, and it was really nice.
Oh, that's good. So what year was that, around 2002?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I really remember.
Yeah. Now there's characters and people in the music industry and entertainment industry that you mix with. And I came across a name, and I tried to research him, couldn't find one thing about him. His name, Conley Abrams. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah. Wow, that is a blast from the past.
Well, who was he? Because I found out nothing about him, and it said on Discogs that one of his nicknames was Conley the Conman Abrams. But that must have been in a friendly way, I guess.
I love that you found this out because that is a name I have not heard in like forever. Like
Well,
such
well,
a
well, who is he? Can you, can you throw
Oh,
some light on it?
he was a music producer. So when I first went to LA, when I was, I think, 15,
Yeah.
he was a producer that I worked with back then.
Okay. And obviously you're not that not that close now, Samantha. But
Haven't seen him since I was probably 16.
16. Well, let's go back to that time. Going to LA at that age from Perth and meeting people in the industry, what was it like?
Oh my gosh. I mean, obviously an extremely different world than what I was used to in Perth. But the best thing, because it's a great place to really learn about the industry. It's kind of one of those places that, if you want to be in it to win it, you kind of got to be there. And I had a really good experience. I know, not everybody does. I was really lucky with my experience because my parents were there. But I learned so much and I got to work with people that I only dreamed of being in a room with.
Yeah, of course. And did you stick around with any expat Aussies and mix with the Aussie mafia that are over there? Quite a lot of Aussies over there in LA, isn't there?
Yes, yes. Towards the end of my trip, I really, like, towards the end of me living there, I really did, yeah, meet all the Aussies. At first, I didn't know any Australians, and I was like, I need to know some Aussies out here. And then once I met one, it was like what you said. It was just like, then all of them came out. And I was like, oh, this is so nice, a little touch of home.
The floodgates have opened. Samantha Jade is with us live on a Sunday morning from her home somewhere in New South Wales. You're in Sydney, are you, Samantha, I think?
Yeah, I live in Sydney. That's right.
Yeah. Well, good.
I'm always in Melbourne. I love Melbourne. I think Melbourne is the coolest city in Australia.
Yeah, a couple of little issues with graffiti and bike lanes, but apart from that, we go all right down here. We'll have to catch up live one time. Samantha Jade is with us. How good is this? Live on a Sunday morning in Melbourne.
Okay, the moment you have all been waiting for. Australia, this has been the fiercest competition we have ever seen. You have spoken, and it is down to Jason and Samantha. The winner of the X Factor 2012 is Samantha Jade!
That was Samantha Jade, the very first woman to win X Factor back in 2012. That was game-changing, Samantha, wasn't it?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it changed my whole life. That show really did change my whole life. I mean, I had been in the industry for 10 years prior to that show, which no one really knew about. But behind the scenes, like making records and writing records. And it wasn't until that show that I really properly learned how to perform, because you have to sing live and perform live every single week. And it's a really great challenge, but it's one of the best things I've done. It was a great experience. I loved it.
Was there any time where you thought this is a bit too much, or did you just thrive on it all? The pressure, because there must be a heap of pressure to be doing what you do.
Oh my gosh. When you're on that show, it is genuinely one of the toughest things because, especially those days, it was completely live. And every week you would have to stand on this stage and maybe be voted out. And the pressure was immense. Like it was really tough. But I think that, you always do grow from those experiences and it made me really build up a thick skin. And I also really got to learn to listen to my peers and the people that were voting and what they wanted to see. And it was a really nice line, like a direct line with my fan base, which was really nice.
Yeah, and what a great result. After the winning, you get the Sony contract, don't you? As well as the Nissan Dualis, the car.
Oh, that's right, yeah. The car. I mean, I was happy about having all of those things, but I mean, mostly just being able to be the first female to win in this country was pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, the Dualis, that was back in 2012. So the Dualis, it'll be getting a bit long in the tooth now. Where's that ended up?
Oh, my gosh. Where did it end up? I can't even remember. It's like 12 years ago. It's, I mean, my brother drove it for a while, and I don't even know where it is now. I couldn't even tell you.
Well, There's a challenge for us. Wouldn't it be funny if Conley Abrams was driving it and he'd moved out here to Australia?
He's driving it around.
You never know. So from straight after the X Factor, you had the single out, which went extremely well, ahead of two other singles which were absolutely a success for you. How long did that wave keep on rolling?
I mean, it's tough. Like, because when you're on the show, you're obviously in people's lounge rooms every week, and it feels like they can really get to know you. And then after the show is the harder part, because you have to stay there, and try and keep yourself there. So you just try your hardest to put music out as much as you can. And I haven't really ever stopped. I've always put out records. I've always, tried to stay keeping my fans happy with music, and also, going into acting and designing jewelry lines and makeup lines, and just being in the industry in some kind of capacity.
That's great. And not only do you sing, of course, but you write a lot of music. Jojo, you wrote a very successful song for, and I listened to that yesterday. I wasn't familiar with it. It's a beauty. And how did that evolve?
Thank you. Yeah. Do you know what? That was actually before I even got my record deal for myself. So I actually wrote that song. We were kind of writing for my record, and then I was in the room, and one of the producers were like, oh, we've got Jojo coming in, and we'd love for you to write the verses and kind of finesse the chorus on this song. And I was like, okay, great. It was really cool. They showed us kind of like a clip from Shark Tale and what we'd be writing for, and it was really nice. Like, it was such a cool thing to be recognised as a writer.
Yeah, absolutely. What is your method of writing? Do you work on a melody first, or do you come up with an idea for a lyric and then write the music around that? Because from all you very clever, creative people that are able to do that sort of stuff, it varies from what I can gather.
Always. I mean, to be honest, it's never the same. It kind of always varies. I feel like with me, I usually do come up with the melody first. Like, I'll just be walking my dog or walking around the house, or it always is a random time something will pop into my head and I'm like, ooh, that's good, and record it into my phone straight away, and then go into the studio and build it from there. Yeah.
Do you put down ideas at a home setup, or do you go into a studio that you hire? What's the actual physicality or the physical way of recording it and getting it up and running?
I always go into the studio. I don't have a home setup. I mean, I have I can sing into my computer and kind of do some kind of things, but it's never that good. So I usually definitely I leave the production to the producers. But writing wise, sometimes even I had a Christmas song out last year, and my friend and I wrote that completely a cappella, like just in the room.
Yeah, amazing. And the gear these days, and I mention it to a lot of the young ones, Samantha, but I'm a bit of an analog kind of guy. From the days of the old recording studios with the big analog desks, and you couldn't count the buttons, there were so many. But now it's just a little control panel and a couple of screens, and away you go. It's changed a lot, but the warm sound of analog. Did you ever get to record in any of those beautiful big studios, say in LA or here in Australia?
I did, actually. I was really lucky. Like, when I worked in the States, I got to record at so many incredible studios that had been around for a very long time. Yeah. And they would have those massive desks. So I have. It's a very special experience.
Yeah, sure. And the other way that music's changed, and I'd like your opinion on that, the fact that I still have all my CDs and I still collect CDs. And in fact, after listening to your work yesterday, I am going to purchase a CD called The Best of My Love by Samantha Jade. That is one where it's a great collection of absolute classics for people, I want to say my age, but, I'm aging myself a bit much there, but How Deep Is Your Love, one of my favourite songs of all time by the Bee Gees, your rendition of that is, I'm going to say, outstanding.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice, and especially since it's your favourite song. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, how did you get to record that? Was it one you always loved, or you thought it'd suit the album that you were going to do?
Yeah, it's hard because when we did that record, obviously it was definitely like, a cover record, and we knew what it was, and we wanted to revisit that era of disco, and I love that era. And then we kind of were like, which songs do we choose? Because there is a plethora of songs to choose from. Like, there were so many. And we did obviously go for some of the obvious choices, and then I was like, we need a ballad. And that song, it's one of my favorite songs too. I just think it's so, so, so beautiful. And I wanted to make it feel, obviously I always want to do the original justice, but I wanted to make it feel like me as well. So I think we found that happy medium.
Yeah, and on the back of How Deep Is Your Love, there was another song. I don't know whether you're familiar with it, but I reckon you would be able to sing it. Well, the Bee Gees had a crack at it because they wrote it, and then a lady called Samantha sang it. Sang it, and I reckon Samantha Jade could do the best ever recording ever of it, because I reckon it'd suit your voice. The song called Emotion. Are you familiar with that?
Oh, of course I am.
Yes.
Yes.
What do you reckon? Have you ever had a crack at it?
It's just
emotion that's taken me over. That's it.
Yeah, I love that
It's
song.
over and done. That's the one.
Yeah. Okay. Next time I chat to you, I'll have a version ready.
Can you? Thanks. That'd be wonderful. Samantha Jade is with us. How good is this? She's live from her place in Sydney. I'm here in Melbourne. It's a Sunday morning in Melbourne, here on 3AW.
I told you that we could fly, 'cause we all have wings, but some of us don't know why. I was standing and you there, two worlds collided, and they could never, ever, ever tear us apart.
Oh, that is wonderful. Samantha Jade is our guest this morning on a Sunday morning. Samantha, that particular mini-series, Never Tear Us Apart by In Excess, for me, as a Samantha Jade fan, that's when you came on the scene as a member of the public admiring your work, as far as I'm concerned. I thought you were fantastic.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. I remember when I got that role, I was like, oh my goodness, this is a big role to take on. It's obviously, Australia's absolute pop queen, Kylie Minogue. How on earth am I going to do this? And there wasn't many interviews that I could kind of watch for research of her talking about Michael, because she kept that very private.
Yeah.
It was just such a fun experience. I loved every minute of it. And then I got to actually speak to her, and she said to me that I did a good job. And I was like, this is all I've ever needed.
Was that on a radio show? Was that a little bit of a setup and you thought, hang on, this isn't really Kylie? And then I think it could be actually.
No, it really was. Yes, it was on Kyle and Jackie O, actually. And they were like, we've got someone who wants to talk to you. And I just thought that maybe they'd called my dad, or someone that would answer.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hi, it's Kylie. And I was like, oh my God. I was like freaking out. Like, no way she's on the phone right now. And then Carl's like, go ahead, tell her what you thought. And she was like, I thought you did a really great job. And I was like, I can finally sleep at night. Now I can finally sleep at night.
Yeah, you're not dissimilar to look at. And the voice, did you have to work on it very much? Did it come fairly easily to you?
I had to work on how she uses her mouth, because she uses her mouth in a certain way. I watched a lot of interviews about that, and kind of worked with an acting coach about that. And I did work with my acting coach on her voice, because she pronounces things a little bit different. And yeah, I mean, acting is just unbelievable. It's a whole other art, and it's really hard, but really fun and rewarding too.
Because you've done a bit of Home and Away, of course.
Yes, oh my gosh, Home and Away, another great experience. Another thing I was so nervous to do, because I was like, Home and Away, like they all know each other and they all have been on this show for so long, and how's it going to feel as the newbie? And they were just the most welcoming cast, so kind. I loved being part of that show.
Yeah. Now, you've also toured, so we can tick TV off. I want to talk to you about Dancing with the Stars as well. The recording industry, of course, being a writer, a songwriter. What about touring? What about the live performances? You've been a backup act for some wonderful stage acts around the country, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been so lucky. I mean, touring, I think, as an artist, for me personally, it's my favorite part of my job because I love traveling to new cities and getting to perform for new audiences and new crowds. And I just love singing live. Like, it's just my favorite thing. And I've been so lucky to perform on these huge stages that, you know, with One Direction and Backstreet Boys and Pentatonics, and they're just all such well-respected bands. And every single tour has been so different and so fun.
Much screaming going on at the One Direction concerts when they got on?
I don't think I have ever heard a louder audience. Like, it was wild, especially like before the show, because, you know, they're so excited for them to come out, and it was really cute because they could see them kind of walking up to the stage, and you could just hear the roar of the crowd. It was really electric in those stadiums. It was amazing.
Where did you perform? Give us some of the locations that you thought, wow, this is a lot of energy in one particular venue.
Well, I got to perform, I'm trying to remember which exact arena it was in Perth, because obviously where I'm from. Gosh, which one was it? Was it SCG? I can't remember the exact name, but what I do know is I had driven past that stadium, obviously as a child, and been like, one day I'll get to perform there, hopefully, you know, it's my dream. And I remember when they drove us in and we got backstage, and I just had this moment where I just started bawling my eyes out because I was like, wow, it actually happened. You know, it was just such a dream for me for such a long time. And it's those moments where you're like, well, I'm really glad I stuck with this.
Fantastic. Now, is it tough touring and moving around, or do you just enjoy the whole process?
Oh my gosh, I love it. I mean, I think we're so lucky in Australia because we actually don't have that many cities. You know, like obviously touring America would be a whole other story. I actually toured in the UK as well, and that was so many more places. But it's grueling. It's definitely grueling because you're on planes, then you're having to, or driving, and then you're having to wake up and, you know, hope your voice is still there for the performance. But it's just so fun. Like, yeah. I would do it again and again and again.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And look, the other thing in the research that I did about you, Samantha, married. I didn't even know that. It was a bit sad for me to take on board initially, but I've got over it. And you got married over in Venice. What was that like?
Oh, so beautiful. I mean, God, Italy's good on any kind of day. Imagine it on that day. It was just so beautiful and so nice and intimate and just a lovely day.
And look, I know your private life is private, and that's great. I really admire that. But congratulations, because you've been married a couple of years now, a former Sony executive, Pat, and I've seen a photo. But what upset me is that you'd planned to get married, and then, correct me if I'm wrong at any stage, then COVID comes along, and like just about everybody that wants to get married, they put off the wedding because you want to have a wedding with guests. Now, the press that come out, I read a couple of articles, Samantha Jade, relationship, is it going all right? She's been engaged and there's no wedding yet. And from what I can gather, you came out and said, hang on a second, I want a wedding. I love my dad. He's in Perth. If he doesn't walk me down the aisle, I don't want to get married. Is that how it went?
Well, because the borders were closed for so long from WA. And oh my gosh, it was so hard, and so hard for so many people. I mean, it wasn't just me, it was so many people. But I mean, the press is always going to say what they want to say. And I think they were like, oh, let's take this as they're not happy.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know what's going to happen. I read stuff about myself every day.
Yeah. And how many, and you wanted to get married in Venice because your dear old mum wanted always to go there, or had been there and wanted to go back? It was something like that?
There was a movie that she really loved that was set there, and she always was like, one day we'll get there. Yeah, it was really sad actually, because my mum, I mean, it was always her dream actually to go to Paris, but always to go to Europe. She was from Scotland, but she never got the chance to kind of, as an adult, go around Europe. And so actually after she passed away, that was the first place we went, my dad and my brothers and I, was to Paris. And it was pretty special. We felt like she was then.
But not being from Scotland, it wasn't, hey, Samantha, go and clean up your room, will you, lassie? It wasn't, she didn't have the thick accent on the go.
She didn't, but because she moved when she was quite young. But my grandfather absolutely does, but he's so funny, right? Because he's a Glaswegian, and he's like, yeah, he speaks like that. And all my friends are like, when he talks, they're all like,
what did he say?
And then I have to. They're like, what is he saying? But he's like, I sound Australian. I'm like, are you kidding me? You sound so Scottish. Such a nice accent.
And then your dad's, where's he from? He's from.
My dad's Indian.
Indian,
So,
yeah.
Yeah, so my dad is Anglo-Indian. He grew up in Bombay, and then he moved to Australia when he was 7. So, yeah, so half my family have Indian accents and half my family have Scottish accents. And then obviously the food on both sides is amazing. So I've been very lucky growing up in a, multicultural household.
Yeah, that's a bonus. Look, we haven't even spoken about the new single yet properly. Plus, we haven't even touched on Dancing with the Stars. That's next. Don't go anywhere. Samantha Jade is with me on a Sunday morning here in Melbourne.
I was so excited about this song because I wrote it last October. I was so excited for this song to come out because pop has made such a comeback. Like that kind of nostalgic pop is really coming back. So yeah, I love this one.
Album out in August.
Yes.
That is exciting.
I know, because it's been ages since I've had one out, so I'm excited about that too.
Samantha Jade is our guest. We opened up the hour with it. It's a beauty. It's contemporary. It's just being released ahead of an album. Is that the style of the other songs we'll hear on the album, Samantha?
Yeah, we've really, gone back to my pop roots. It's my favourite kind of music to make. And, this record really is, I'm kind of calling it a love letter to love. It's all about love in different forms and losing love and finding love and having love. And, yeah, it's very much in the pop realm.
Oh, good stuff. And is there a date set, or do we know the exact time for it to be released?
I haven't announced it yet, but it will be in a few weeks. So
okay.
Look out for it on my Instagram. But yeah, a few weeks, not long.
What is your Instagram site?
Oh, it's just at Samantha Jade.
At Samantha Jade. That's easy. All right, we'll get a date from that. Now, Dancing with the Stars. I saw you the other week. You did the salsa. And I knew I was going to be talking to you, so I was on the edge of the couch, and I had everything crossed because I wanted you to just do well. Do well. Mark Wilson, judge number 4, 10. There it was. What a thrill.
I know. Oh, my gosh, such a thrill. I mean, this show is just so great. It's such a fun show. You're really out of my comfort zone. You've got to work really hard. My dance partner, Gustavo, is just such a talent, and he is a fantastic teacher. I mean, we rehearsed so much, and I'm so glad we did, because once you get to the stage, you're like, thank God I did all those rehearsals and now it's in my body. And then, obviously you want a really good score for yourself, but also for your dance partner who's worked really, really hard. So it was really nice to get a 10. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is the payoff. This is great.
No, it was a wonderful performance, and I think I called it the salsa, but it was the samba, of course, wasn't it, I think?
Samba, yes, samba, yes. So, what a dance style. When he told me we were doing the samba, I was like, okay. And he's showed me a video, and I'm like, that's what I'm going to be doing? It looks so hard. He's like, yeah. And he also was a samba champion. So I'm like, oh, great. Great. I mean, good for me, because you can teach me really well, but also, oh God, you poor thing having to dance it with me.
Yeah, exactly. The different dances, do you have a favorite that you like performing?
Do you know what? I will say, I like the Latin. I do like the Latin stuff. That's really fun, but I love ballroom. I actually didn't think I would like ballroom more. I actually thought I'd like Latin more. But ballroom was the first week, the quick step. And it's a really once you get the shape, which is really hard and awkward at the beginning, it's really beautiful to dance. So I really liked that one.
And you do feel yourself improve over the duration, do you? Like you said, that it sort of becomes muscle memory and it becomes part of your body. And do you reckon from being on Dancing with the Stars with not that much experience on the dance floor that you have now learnt a new skill, if you like?
Absolutely. And that's what I keep saying. I'm like, how cool that I have this new skill. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm at some wedding and someone's like, hey, do you want to do a ballroom dance? I'll be like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of really know that. So, yeah, it's very cool to have this skill that I never, ever, under any circumstance other than doing this show, would ever have had. So it's very cool.
Yeah, and the other guy that I love on the show, well, I love everybody. Are they good crew before I ask you about him? Are you getting on extremely well?
Everyone is lovely. It's like a family backstage. Like, genuinely, we all watch each other and then we all like congratulate each other and take each other's photos. And yeah, I loved everyone.
Yeah, Shane Crawford's a good man. Nikki Osborne, haven't met her yet. She's funny.
It's great. Oh yeah, she's great. She was like my big sister on the show. Shane Crawford, I love him. First of all, he's so funny. I didn't realize how funny he is. He's hilarious. And he's also just such a sweetheart, so supportive. I mean, I had a show while we were filming. I had a show out here, like a singing show, and he came to watch. It was so sweet, him and his dance partner.
Oh.
So they're all just like super supportive, and what a great crew. And now I can say I'm friends with so many people I wouldn't have met. So that's really nice.
That is tremendous. And Shane, I'll tell you something else about him that I want to ask you about too. Were you on the Apprentice, what's it called? The Apprentice, where you're fired? You were on the You Were Fired show, weren't you?
I sure was, yes.
With Celebrity Apprentice, that's it, with Mr. Burris?
I was on it with Sugar, Lord Sugar.
Oh, Lord Sugar, were you? Okay, well, getting back to Shane, I interviewed him once and he said of all the television and things that he's done, including playing football at the highest level, he said that being on The Apprentice was the most nerve-wracking thing he's ever done. Did you find it like that?
It was a challenge.
Yeah.
I liked it, but I didn't love it, to be honest. I was like, oh God, it's just so, you're so nervous in that boardroom and you're just put on such a spot. Yeah. And it's so outside of anything you do in real life. So yeah, no, definitely. And we would, I mean, those days, all of us wouldn't eat. We'd be like, oh my gosh, can't eat, too nervous. Like, yeah. That's a tough show.
Yeah. So you've done a lot, haven't you? When you look at your catalogue of work, there's little bits of everything, but great to have you this new album. First one in how long? Quite a few years, I think.
Yeah, I think it's been like 2 years, so it's really nice to have new music out.
Yeah, and I like the cover that I saw of the new. I remembered the very first album with you as a brunette. You don't look anything like you do these days. What happened there?
Well, I've turned into a blonde. Yeah, but I'm kind of a brunette still. It's it's still up here.
Oh yes, I can see it. It looks good. Whatever you're doing, just keep on doing that, Samantha. You're okay. You're okay by me. We're almost there. Samantha Jade is here on 3AW, but sadly not for much longer. A Sunday morning in Melbourne, we're almost at 10 o'clock. Samantha Jade has been our guest for the hour. It's been an absolute pleasure. What will you do, Samantha, for the rest of the day? I saw a photo of you and your gorgeous husband and a beautiful little dog there. Will you just hang out with them, do you reckon, for the rest of the time?
Oh, probably, yeah. I mean, we'll definitely take him on another walk. He'll need that. Yeah. But I'm talking about Peachy all day today, which is great because I love to chat about it. So that's my day. Look
out for it. I found it on, well, not the album, but the single Peachy on Apple. Yeah. I'm an Apple kind of guy, but it's on all platforms, as you young people call them, I think, isn't it?
That's right. All the streaming platforms.
Good luck. Love your work and dancing on Dancing with the Stars. And from the NXS mini-series up until now, and I've got another task to do, and that is to buy The Best of My Love, the disco sort of beautiful songs and takes you back to an era by yourself, a bit of a personal favourite there. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, Samantha, and look, hopefully I'll meet you in the flesh one day. Who knows?
Absolutely. I'll come in next time for sure.
Good on you. Samantha Jade.
Who knows it completely?